This is Talking My Walking. I am Rodrigo Ribeiro and I'm going to talk about individualism, collectivism, and realism. This division of between individualism and collectivism that makes people some people do not understand that. You can see people that they hate collectivism because I understand that if you have understand if you see or perceive collectivism as the situation where you lose your individuality, your ability to be an individual, of course, I do understand that we are against collectivism because we are a social species, and social species need some form of social organization that protects the collective well-being. But it doesn't mean that we do not need to feel respected as individuals. That has nothing to do with private property rights and wealth accumulation. And that's why most people that see themselves as libertarians, or especially right-wing libertarians, and conservatives and others, they think about individualism in correlation to private property rights and wealth accumulation. That's why they are against taxes, they are against government, as if we do not depend on a structure that is beyond us to defend, to protect ourselves. How can my rights, the rights to own property, the rights to keep my wealth safe, be only on my hands? That is everybody knows that doesn't work, because it would put us against each other, fighting. And of course, in this kind of fights, the worst among us, it's the winners, are going to be the winners. That's why we need a government and a state, not because we want the government to take our rights away, but exactly the opposite. That's because this is a false dichotomy. Individualism and collectivism are both part and are needed as for a species like us, a social species, because if we want to be honest about the evolution of our species, if we believe in science, I mean, if you understand that we are our species, so-called Homo sapiens is, or Homo sapiens at least, is around 250,000 years old, and we have survived for a long time in small groups, troops, tribes, communities. You can call it what you want. The fact is, first, we have a history of a nomadic life. So the cohesion of the group was more about the cohesion of the group than about the defense of the territory. But even for those groups or tribes that were more territorial, what we what is pretty reasonable to understand, that they were not talking about private and individual rights to property, but about the collective territory. So they would defend the territory in the same way that we today defend our territory, our country, because it's about the unity. When we defend our country against an enemy, all right, what do? We do because we have a national identity, we have a cultural identity, so we share something in common that makes us perceive that makes us perceive the people that live, the territory and the people as one, as a unity. So that's what means. That's why we defend the territory, and that territory it's not about to defend our private properties. We are not. I mean, indirectly, we are defending our private property. But when we don't own any private property, what are we defending then? We are defending other people's private property and the big owners. Okay, so the idea of a territory, it has always been a collective shared territory. The territory that particular group of people or tribe or community needed to live for their needs, just like any other animal that keeps a territory in order to because it's not because he wants to own it or is going to give it in inheritance to his children. It's not about that. It's about the territory because it's just about to provide for the needs to survive. As individuals, and as families, the concept of family as we and how we see it today with the inheritance rights and private property rights, private law, all that property law and all those developments, civilizational developments that transformed us into sick people. Honestly, that's how I perceive it. Yes, we are mad. We might be polite, we might be sophisticated, but we just lost the plot. We do not respect the reality of our condition. We just have these theories and interpretations of the human condition, supposedly backed by science, by pseudoscience, because there is a lot of things that we call science that is just pseudoscience. It is pseudoscience mainly because it tries to defend the paradigm of human condition or human nature that is inaccurate. It has nothing to do with what a human being is. But just because we have a very plastic, we can exhibit lots of different behaviors, and you can adapt to so many environments, and you can live under. We can follow rules and narratives that it doesn't matter if they are right or wrong. We just follow them because once we believe them, once they become part of us, once we are colonized by them, we just follow them. We can see it everywhere. It doesn't matter even if what we do it's a crime, even how we treat our fellow citizens. It's obviously wrong. We keep doing it. So this is we are individuals. That is, we all know it, and we have the need to protect ourselves. We need to, our identity is important. We all need space for us. We don't want to be transformed in tools. Most of us, at least, I believe, that we do not want to be tools. It doesn't mean that we just don't like to please others, or it's not, or help or cooperate. No, of course we do and want and need. But we also need our space. We need to have will. We need to have agency. And that is obvious to me. But that's not against the collective good. That's just along and in cooperation for the collective good. So this is not a battle between, individualism and collectivism, because that battle is already synonymous of that something is wrong with the assumptions. Individual rights as individual freedoms can never go against the collective good. And why? Because we can only protect the individual rights if we protect the collective good. Otherwise, if the individual rights are are elevated to a position above that supremacy, are become supreme, absolute, okay, as some want, then there will be people, certain individuals, that will create order, a political order, a legislative, a law order that authorizes them to control others, to control the society. And this is the kind of society we have. And many people that are victims of this system, they do not understand that this kind of individualism or individual rights basically, or based mainly in private rights, private property rights, in private law, are against them. Because they do not protect individuals, they protect groups, specific groups that are that want laws to protect them, because they are the minority, they are a very few, and in order to protect themselves, they need to create narratives, and they need to create laws and moral codes that make us all, as many as possible, fall for it. But also, collectivism is not right in the sense, if collectivism is about suppressing the rights of individuals and the individual agency in order to protect the collective good, it's also wrong. Because this needs to be a balance between the rights of individuals and the collective good, respecting the reality of human condition. Because this a society and an economy is, in my humble opinion, to serve human beings. And to serve human beings that should understand that they have limits. Not only limits in terms of individual freedoms, but in terms that we cannot have everything we want. And we cannot control other people, as we cannot and should not control the environment. Because this concept of owning everything, it will dictate our destruction. Because it is not about satisfying our needs. It's about satisfying the wants of the few. And they do not mind at all to use the collective wisdom, the collective energy, and all the resources available in nature, just to get what they want. And what they want, what psychopaths and sociopaths want, is control, is power. They want to have everything under their control. That's why we have a system because we allowed the worst people amongst us and their acolytes. And there are so many people in the manager and the professional managerial class, and so many careerists that they will do the beating for them. Even they are not bad people, but just because they want to have nice lives, they just do not, they just deny themselves. They live in this cognitive dissonance where in one side is the values, okay, and principles, and in the other side is the interests. But what really matters is the interests, because we don't eat because what matters is what we can enjoy physically, and that's what so many people don't seem to not do not care about. Do not just they talk about values and spirituality and so many things without connecting it with reality, without connecting it that in our world, the world where we live, the material world matters. And who controls the material resources, but also the virtual resource of money and capital. It's the ones that really have the power to dictate what we can do and not do, or if we have agency or not. So when we talk about individualism, we need to understand that it's not about, it's about a compromise. It's about that we all should enjoy certain freedoms, and when I talk about real agency, not specifically to accumulate wealth and private property, which should be very constrained, because that's if we do not understand that, if we do not have a ceiling, and we can accumulate wealth and private property and expand the economy and let these guys of these companies, these private equity companies and these private funds and all these institutions, banking, banks and financial institutions and so many others just take over everything. Why should they be able to buy? Recently, I mean, I don't remember right now, but these funds, they own in some African countries 10% of the territory, where they want to develop green energy projects for export. Okay, this is just, I mean, if people do not understand that this is not only absurd, this is a crime against humanity. What we do, it's a crime against nature, crime against humanity, and exactly based on these supposedly individualistic rights. And as it happens in America, corporates are persons, that's That's what it should be like, you know. You just gave a corporation a legal right of a person. Okay? So, I mean, and the people, as I see smart people that they just talk about collectivism. Okay, I do understand what they are talking about collectivism, what they perceive as being collectivism. I do not want it as well for me. Okay? But they should understand collectivism in a way that is part of our social organization, the way we need as social beings to organize ourselves, because we have evolved like that. And what is strange is that we allowed, it was not the poor that came up with these ideas, you know. They tried to make it liberal. They tried to associate these liberal ideas of everyone should have the right for private property, which seems correct, morally correct, because if there is private property, so therefore this should be universal right, as like voting and like other rights, that they should be universal. That's, I mean, everybody understands that's correct. The problem is not that. The problem is who is going to take advantage. That's the power dynamics. That's the which groups in society, because when these people talk about these principles and values, they just assume that society is, or civilization, or the countries and the people, and it's like a level playing field. It's like it doesn't matter, you know, if you live in a village or in a, if it's like it doesn't matter that Blackstone is the biggest landlord in America right now, and it seems that this private property right, universal, that everyone can own property, all right? So it seems very good. But who really has the ability and the opportunity to own it? What are the underlying mechanisms? How does Blackstone can makes it possible? Is through financial engineering, you know. It's a lot of leverage. It's a lot of shadow banking there. It's a lot of is schemes that should be illegal, because they give certain groups, corporations and individuals advantage over the rest of us. So there is no level playing field. That is just a myth. That's not the rights are not universal. They can only be universal if we all have identical opportunities. But not theoretically. In the real life, in the real economy. That's why we need the government and the state to protect collective good. A government and the state needs our agency, political agency and economic agency, social and cultural agency, in order that we control that there is accountability, that there are no individuals or corporations or groups, organizations or institutions that can take advantage of, that they can own the system, because it's the case that we are controlled, our lives are controlled, that we don't, it doesn't matter if you have individual rights, okay? You can buy or sell property, but that's not the issue, that's not the point. The point is that we are not the ones that write the rules and the laws that in the end are tailored for in our disadvantage, even if we are successful as individuals, entrepreneurs, or whatever we believe we are. The fact is that we do not have agency. So therefore, we as individuals are our independence and our freedom as individuals is very limited. Our choices are very limited. Real choices in life, which means how do we really use our time? What kind of job, what kind of functions can we perform in our society? How can we enjoy lives with meaning and purpose? How can we feel that we are really respected and our life has dignity? Not only theoretically or just because this is always relational. That's the point. There is no, that's the idea that's living beings do not live individual lives, okay? Living beings are always, even the most individual species, there is always, our lives are always relational. Life is relational. There is interdependency. It's not about we need to change our understanding of all these. We are so. Propaganda is so pervasive. It's. This is not only about misinformation and fakery everywhere and lies everywhere. It's also pseudoscience. There is so much pseudoscience. I was talking about that because it's true. Do we have this? Now we have this techno-scientism, that this faith, this blind faith in science and technology, or technofixism, which is crazy. There is no critical thinking, and it's not about independent analysis, but it's more about holistic analysis, which means that we need to go through the interconnections, the interdependencies, how things influence each other. How do we then create these functional systems and economic systems, political systems, cultural systems, because basically we are not being, we make ourselves, we follow those assumptions about human condition and nature, and assumptions about civilization and about economy, and then we just adapt to them. We started at school by preparing ourselves, by being instrumentalized, and then that's our choice, because it's that's our choice, that we commit ourselves, train ourselves in becoming specialists in something, expert in something that is going to be our field of research, our profession, and that's how we can achieve success, professional and social success, and then we just have to fulfill a role. We just have to we just have to sometimes forget that life could be something else, and that we just see life through those lenses that we do not understand, because we created this environment where we have these protections, okay? That's as I'm going to say again, this private law, and property law, which makes it which guarantees that the people have their rights. Okay, the people, companies have their rights protected at national and international level, because there are many laws these days that are tailored to overrule the national law of countries that are smaller countries, and many of us do not even question that we have been colonized. I mean, we have been trained, domesticated, because education is about domestication, I know it, but we have been domesticated in a way that we do not even respect the human condition. We are perverting the human condition. We pervert the human condition, and just we assume ideas about human condition and human nature that actually are incorrect, because that's not who we are. And it goes against our desire, our deep need to cooperate. For most of us, want and need to cooperate. But faced with a reality where the only thing that matters it's our individual interests, what can we do? We need to leave this cognitive dissonance. We need to adopt cognitive dissonance in order to make these two realities, in order that we can handle these two realities. The reality that we need to adapt in order to survive, and the reality sometimes that's what we feel, but then we are so distorted. There is so many layers of the dominant narratives in our subconscious are so powerful that they keep they do not allow many of us to rebel, against that order, that artificial order that makes us comply and conform with a society that is dysfunctional, and a civilization, this imperialistic civilization, this way of organizing a society. But you can't say, but if this is true, why can it be true if we are keeping it for so many centuries? That's a fair question, but that's because that's the power dynamics. That's the use of fear. So that is the perception manipulation to manufacture consent, but that's also the management of fear and hope. It's about management. That's how organized religion its use and culture. That's why we have many people that their role in society is to create the narratives to make us fearful, to demonize certain people or countries, to dehumanize certain people and demonize certain countries or cultures or civilizations through lies, through manipulation. But it doesn't matter, because what matters is that it works. Emotional manipulation works, and how we also manipulate the imagination, like through hope and false expectations. That's how it works. That's why it can work. That's a repression, violence. That's a combination. That's a combination of. It's not a single tool. It's a toolbox. That's why it's not easy. It's not even easy to dismantle. It's not easy to see through it. We need to train ourselves. It's not just it's not the same way that we are indoctrinated and instrumentalized through systemic training, through ubiquitous propaganda, in order that we liberate ourselves from its influence. We need also to have a countercultural rebellion. It is also about the training that we need to engage in order to see through, in order to change the dominant narratives. Because otherwise, we might go through all our lives without understanding anything about what we have been through. Because it's not easy, and we have to survive. And most of the time we prefer because it's easier, it's more convenient that we just fall for easy narratives that promise this and that. You just have to you have to do this and that, and you will make it. There is every day, every single day, every time you use YouTube, for example, there is these ads, and everywhere, it's everywhere, telling you what you shall do in order to become successful, in order to become healthy and beautiful, and and achieve happiness. All that's supposed to be associated with a good life, which actually is, But that's not how we achieve it. It's not only about individual adaptations and changes. It is required all systemic changes. And that's what they do not want to talk about, because they want us to believe that the problem is an individual problem, or a dysfunctional family, or whatever. But never, the system is perfect. Could not be more perfect than it is. It has its flaws. It commits certain crimes. It has this and that, but it's the perfect. It's the best humankind can achieve. So we just have to keep continuing digging the ditch. That's crazy, but that's what it is. So we need to be more to create to develop a culture that where we are more alert, because language it's the most powerful tool, but we assume as natural, but we are constantly being manipulated by people that know how to use language to do it. Every day. It's not something episodic, it's a systemic reality. And we need to be in constant alert. We cannot just think this is a weekend thing. Okay, that is all for today. Thank you for listening. I will be back soon.